I guess we can start now, right? Because hey guys, we're supposed to be here at 8, so we can start now and take the advantage of having the honor of having Mr. Tim here with us. How would you like us to call you, Tim or Mr. Tim? How do you feel better?
Just Tim's fine.
All right. But usually here in Nicaragua, we always show respect, and it's a way, whether you're 9 years or whatever, if we don't know each other that much, we usually go that way.
Okay.
So thank you so much for the opportunity to be here with us tonight. This is not the entire tribe. Somehow, some way, some of them are probably scared because not all of them are bilinguals. But we are honored to have you here. So usually what I do when I bring guests to the team, we go through a series of questions so that we kind of get insights, of what is it like to be this or that in terms of professions. So I think we can go this way as well today. I really appreciate the time that you're giving us, and I appreciate the fact that Ariel mentioned, your person to us. I've been struggling with Ariel because he's very talented, but he's kind of coming and going and coming and going. I know he can do way better because he's already, very well trained in Ionic and some React, but I need to capture him to get entirely in this game. I know it's not easy, it's part of the reason why we bring guests so that they can see different perspective of what is going on in this modern world of programming. Mike is just coming, I think, Mike Bermudez. So we have a mix of different type of professionals here. We have junior developers, we have mid developers, we have some of them that are already, I would call some sort of senior. And we are mostly playing, I would say, with the stack of JavaScript, which is really normal nowadays with the web development. But we also have people that are very good with .NET, Golang, and also Python. So let me just go ahead and just ask you the first question that I think all these guys are looking for, and this is: how did you start? How did you learn to program?
I learned on my own. When I was 18, I went to go to school in Boston University, and trying to make this part quick, I got denied because of financial issues and stuff, so I basically threw my computer on the back shelf and went to California and partied for 10 years, and then one of my roommates that I ended up moving in with, he started learning web development and stuff, and kind of started to get back into it, and got a job doing SEO, and after a couple of years, I couldn't really progress anymore at that, and it was boring, and it didn't give you instant results like development did. So started getting more into development and more into it. Eventually got a job where it was mixed SEO and building websites and stuff. So, and went from there. I learned everything on my own. No, I didn't take and I don't recommend school if anybody's thinking about it. If you go to school, it's fine, but you got to be prepared to continue learning. It's not something you can go to school for and just be done when you're done, and it's going to support you for the rest of your life. That doesn't work. I've actually known of people that hung themselves because they thought their life was over after 5 years after school, and everything they knew was getting deprecated, and they couldn't get a job. It's pretty sad.
That usually happens because we have a lot of frustration, from a lot of new individuals coming to this game. Most of them because they were not used to the fact that once you go to the university and you finish, they think you're just gonna sit and start producing code, and they just come to realize that is not even possible. It's not even close to what it is in reality. So I totally agree with you. I was looking forward to go to the university as well, but at the end of the day, I just kept working, and I got all the experience just based on what I learned by myself,
Right.
So,
and it can be frustrating trying to learn yourself sometimes, especially when you're you're looking at something and this doesn't look right, and you look at the date on it and it's 6 years old, and you're, oh geez, I probably shouldn't even be reading this.
Hopefully, as the meme says, Elon Musk can buy a Stack Overflow so that we have new things there, not old stuff. But this is only a joke, of course. So, how many years have you been programming?
I guess probably I say 8 to 10,
Oh,
probably 8. More the more real stuff, not like web design crap, not
hmm.
crap, but more like functional type programming for 8. And I started with PHP, which I don't really like anymore. It's a language that I don't know what. It's still like 80% of like web applications use it out there, but I mean it's like a 30-year-old language. There's much better things these days. I even
Yeah,
some stuff that I'm working on currently, just to get it going because we're copying an old product. I still have the PHP in there, but once it starts selling, I'm going to replace that all with Node. I just have a backend Node server.
so you're mostly, I will guess you're getting involved in the stack of JavaScript.
Avoid JavaScript. Yes,
Uh-huh.
JavaScript
Um,
is
okay,
that's
so
my thing.
now that you mentioned this PHP, most of these mastodons will just stay where they were. But in the case of PHP, I think they have come up with some new frameworks. They have improved quite a lot, I will say, what they were having before. But I guess it's just a matter, and this is something that is important to mention. It's a matter of what you're doing at that precise moment. Because in my particular case, I guess it's just like a few months ago that I started to play around with projects involving Laravel, which is the framework for PHP nowadays.
Mhm.
But most of the time, I was involved with JavaScript. So I guess it really takes, the chance of being in a project that is specifically for that stack. I will not say that's the worst or this is the best, but yeah, you're right. I mean, some of these languages are very old. Funny as it sounds, some of these ones are coming back. You know,
Yeah.
Welcome, Magdal. They are coming back, like Cobol, for example. They are coming back because they really need to get rid of all that legacy and start putting all these new things together.
Right.
So I feel you, I feel you. But most of these guys here, this tribe is entirely involved with JavaScript.
That's
and
good.
yeah, and some of them, like Ernesto, for example, he's building some sort of Frankenstein because he does Net, JavaScript, Golang, and which one is the other one, Ernesto? I think you're doing Angular JS and jQuery.
Me?
Ernesto.
Oh, Vanessa.
Well, I think Ernesto is not there. I mean, it's there, but it's probably doing something. So now that you will mention these languages, how many languages do you think a normal programmer will have to learn, or just
I
get
mean,
by with?
really, you can do everything in JavaScript now. I mean, you can use for your front end, of course, but then I mean, for the back end, there's nothing that PHP can do that JavaScript can't, as far as I've found so far. I mean, you
Hmm.
run a Node server with Express, you run MySQL package for your databases, you can do anything with JavaScript.
Yeah, we love JavaScript here as well.
Yes.
It makes the life really easy because everything is centralized in one single language.
Right.
I hate dependencies, but we have to get by with and live with them.
Right.
Because I guess it's just a matter of fact that this is growing so fast. All these tools cannot cope with it, so they have to find a way to just keep the pace. So hence the dependencies come to hand when it comes to solve a problem. Recently, I think it was yesterday that we were just making a joke.
Yeah.
Tim, they were having they have a package to basically figure out whether a number is a node or an even number, and we were like, really, are you really having a package for that? Like,
Yeah.
it's ridiculous,
That's funny. Right.
but you know how it is.
Is
No,
anybody using React Native?
No, just React.
No.
I
Okay.
think
It's
Ariel had experience with that, I think.
Alexander knows a little bit. He mentioned that today.
Mhm.
Ariel, I think he was working with Ionic back in
Yeah,
the day.
yeah, I
Oh
was
yeah,
working with Ionic for its hybrid mode thing. But
Uh-huh.
Tim here is he works the most with native, right? React
So,
Native, Tim.
yeah, right, right.
He was showing me
Um,
some applications last time. I was
yeah,
in
like
someone.
the applications that I'm working on, they have both the web app and mobile app. So use React Native for the mobile. It's kind of nice actually when you meant what we were talking about for JavaScript backend because I can write the same APIs backend code in JavaScript and it can run the web app and the mobile app. I don't think that would be even possible with PHP because I don't know where you. I mean, it might be, but you'd have to connect to a web page and stuff. It'd be just stupid, I think, try to do that. So it's kind of cool that you can write it once and it will work for web applications and mobile applications as far as the backend.
yeah. Well, some of these languages still need some sort of framework in order to make some hybrid environment to have some mobile applications, or go the PWA way, which is I will call an alternative. I'm not entirely sure if I will use that word, but let's call it that way. Now, how did you actually become a senior developer? Because it's not only the years that you've been doing something, it involves a lot of things: soft skills, leadership, sharing, your knowledge,
I don't
vision.
know. I don't know if I really became a senior developer. I think it just transitioned to a better developer or
Mhm.
more skills, stronger skills and such. Because I didn't really. There's only one job where I worked for like a tech firm, and I was the lead there. But I was the lead developer, and then they just had. Uh, I don't think they. I think they were just developers. So I was just the lead.
I
But
see
other than
what you
that, the
mean.
company I've been working for 8 years, I'm the only coder there. Like, it's a construction company. They have
Well,
like 100 and some employees, but so we created the website. It took 6 years to create this web software for them. I mean, when I
wow.
first started with them, like 6 or 7 years ago, they were still like their foremen are out in the field. They'd have to like at the end of the shift, they'd have to write an email and put
Mhm.
the employees' hours in it and email the HR department.
Old
So
school way.
now they have a mobile app they can open up. They can do that. OSHA comes to like inspect them or whatever for safety certificates. The employees that are working just open up the app and hit certificates and it'll pop up so they can show them. They don't get sent home anymore.
Mm.
Pull up their schedule. They get notifications when a new schedule comes out. They can go to the schedule, like go open a map, see where the location is, see the employees. There's a messaging screen on it where they can, um, when they see the employees, they can just hit employee's name and hit message, and it'll go to the message screen. Or they can just use a message screen like Messenger. It's basically a clone of Messenger, but created from scratch. I think that's about it to the mobile app. But then the web app's pretty intensive. It has like all the analytics. They can see it, exactly how much labor they put into assembly, for example. They can see who's been late for work all the time. They can do all kinds of stuff with the web app as far as analytics and such.
Yeah, it's part of it all, I would think. Now that
Right.
you were mentioned the experience part, the technical knowledge and everything, well, what do you think you need as a person that is involved in this type of field? What do you think we need in order to become an expert per se, in this
Motivation.
particular
Just motivation. Just
motivation?
motivation to like keep learning. There's always new things to learn. There's even new things to learn about things that you already know that you didn't realize you didn't know. It just pops up every day.
It is true, and it's running so fast. You cannot even cope with it. It's crazy.
Yeah.
Minute you know something, next day it's obsolete, and it just become a constant race. I call
Yeah.
it. It's just
More,
crazy.
more to learn than I have time for, really. I mean, like, I really would love to learn, I think it's the AES, it's called, with Expo is like a framework that I use to develop in React Native because
Mhm.
it's really simple to distribute. But you still, like, I have to rent a computer, I think it's in Canada or something, and go online to rent a Macintosh so that I can upload the software to Apple, because they won't let you upload it from a PC. So like this new process that they have called AES, it builds it, uploads it to the Apple Store without ever touching an Apple Mac or a Mac, you know.
Mm-hmm.
That's all. And it decreases the size something by like, I think it's 10% of the size of the old APKs with the old builds. So a lot of advantages to it, but I don't have time to learn it, and I know it's not mandatory till January next year. So
It usually happens like that. One question that I have, and I think most of these guys will have, it's wages, you know, the salaries. Basically, we have noticed, and this is mostly in Latin America, there has been some sort of, I will call boom, you know, like there are lots of new companies that are coming to Central America, especially, to bring, you know, this type of opportunities, I will call, you know, to be able to become a developer abroad, you know, not only here. And in terms of salary, you can triplify and sometimes even more, expand and extend the amount of money that you can make outside. So we would like to, you know, just to have a rough idea of how is it like to be a mid or senior developer in States.
It depends on the your specialty, really. I mean, for example, React Native is one of the highest paid jobs as far as development goes there, just because it's so in demand and it's not that many people that know it yet. And it's also one of the big things with, I'm sure you know, is the reason it's in demand is because you write the code once and you distribute it to Apple and Android. So when you use that, like, the companies save tons of money. But for something like that, San Diego, you're looking at 125 to 250,000 a year, for example. Now, if you're just, like, say, doing even just basic web development, maybe 50, 60.
What is that amount? Like, that's a year. How about a month?
Oh, per month. So, for 60,000 divided by 12 is going to be like what, 5,000 a month. Yeah. So $250,000 a year for the best paying React Native job you'll get. Make it $250,000 a year. You're going to be a twelfth of $250,000. Do the math. That's what the computer is for.
I think this will actually clarify some of the question that Patrick had, because he was kind of doubting and become the Flutter developer.
I was just talking about it today. We were discussing with Michael, because he knows a little bit of Kotlin, and we were just talking about, okay, should we maybe go with Flutter or go with React Native? I know that there's a lot of jobs for React Native, and I was just thinking, okay, there's a lot of complaints about it being slow and so on, and there might be a chance that one day we're gonna have to move these applications from React Native onto Flutter. But from what you're telling me, and from what I was checking on Indeed, on the website, the marketplace for React Native developers is huge. So
it is.
Yeah, and if you know React, then it's how difficult is it to move from React to React Native?
From React.js?
Yeah.
I think there's a lot of similarities. I didn't mess with React.js too much. I looked into it a couple years ago before I started with Native. I was looking at React.js, and I was also looking at Vue, and I ended up going with Vue and making a few things, and I just kind of dropped both of them and just went with React Native.
Yeah.
Because I needed to make a mobile app for the company I was working for, and they already had their web app, so continue working for them. It just made more sense for me to jump into React Native.
Yeah, because usually
get more work for them. Yeah.
You would go with what the job requires. So it makes sense.
Yeah, and I mean, as far as wages too, obviously, if you can be more competitive than somebody in San Diego, you might have a better chance of taking that job instead of them taking somebody locally too. As long as they
Yeah.
think you can do the job, like once you're in the same time zone and everything, pretty much, maybe an hour off. So
Yeah,
there's-
time zone is not that much of a deal for us here.
And plus, with the whole COVID thing, like most of the jobs are remote there anyway, so
Yeah,
it's
Yeah,
helps out a lot, and for a lot of people like me that work remotely, and you guys and stuff, if you're looking for jobs there, it actually kind of was it's kind of an advantage.
yeah. I
There's-
think most of us are working remotely, if I'm not mistaken. Most of us here on the call, the team that we work with, they're just 2 hours behind. So we start here at 8 a.m. and they have 2 hours into the shift. So it's not a problem whatsoever. Yeah, we have stand up daily and things go smoothly. You mentioned Vue. I saw just a few things about Vue. It looks like a really nice framework. It's quite neat. We got a
Yeah.
few Vue lovers here on the team.
Yeah,
I
it
think-
is. It is pretty cool. It's actually similar to React JS in a lot of ways too.
Yeah, there's less job opportunities for Vue if you compare it with React. That's the only downside that I would see.
That's true. True. There's less job opportunities, but there might also be a lot less Vue coders though too. So
Yeah.
it might actually be easier to get a Vue job because there's
that's a good point.
less competition. But,
Yeah.
But yeah, I'd probably just stick with React.
Yeah, you have both sides of the tail, because on one side, if you're good at it, you will eventually get a job that will pay you well. But at the same time, you don't have that many chances, that many opportunities for you to get a job that will not pay as much, but it will be a fixed job. For example, us that were with React. So I understand this point. One of the things that I'm still waiting for Vue, it's a mobile framework. I've been waiting for that since version 2. I mean, React at least has React Native, and then you have some options like Ionic and some others, but we're still waiting in Vue to basically bring something to the table. So speaking of this, I guess the guys are now ready to basically ask questions. So I will start, just asking whoever is ready to ask questions. Will be more than happy just to leave the microphone for you guys. All right. So you guys can tell me. Do you guys have questions?
Well, it's not really a question, but I wanted you team to show the guys a sort of maybe sharing your screen and showing us the applications just a general overview of the applications you've done with React Native, to see what we're able to do if we were to learn, React Native.
Mm-hmm.
So you will drop Ionic, Ariel?
What?
Are you dropping Ionic now?
Yeah, definitely. Of course. That was just for my final project, to be honest with you. I don't think I'll ever use it again.
I just met somebody, this kid Wallace down at what is it, Lorena del Sur, the little buffet place across from Super Express. There, I think he's like the kid of the owner or something. But he started talking to me about it, and he said he was using Ionic actually, and he was asking about React. He said he hates Ionic.
Yeah, it has a lot of limitations. I mean, there's not actually so much you can do with Ionic, rather than a sign-in or a chat application, maybe, if you're good enough.
Okay, there it is. Maybe. Is that
You have
it?
a question, team. What is your favorite programming language? They're asking.
React Native. I mean, you want probably JavaScript's easier to say because that covers them all. I love doing Node stuff. I like doing React Native functions and stuff too. I can't tell which one of these. There's like no way to move this bottom bar so I can actually see what the words are above the icons. Is there? I'm not sure how to share my screen. Maybe it's that one. Oh, yep, click the right one.
Yeah, the one next to CC between, you said?
Yep, I found it. So, oh, I guess which monitor? That one.
Okay. Yep, we're able to see.
Okay.
Nice.
Yeah.
Is that the vampire team? Yes, it is. It looks like.
Yep, he is.
I'll do the Arizona one.
That, guys.
So this is the company I've been working for a while. The back end is just ridiculous. Like the amount of there's some of these are just huge amounts of like. I would say that there's actually I do know. I think there's 120 menu items on the back end. And after 6 years, that's what you end up with.
Yeah, he's been working on that project for 6 years, right, Timmy?
Yeah, yeah. So they had me not too long ago make a directory where they could get to everybody's information easily. You can do everything from, I mean, you can start out here on the applicants and go through, show what you did interviewing them, stuff like that. All their information, their resumes, everything gets stored in there, and you hit a hire button and it goes into that directory. Mostly these directories is what I'm spending most of my time on here. It can be pretty intense, some of the things. The estimates, there's places where you can go look and see whether they went over their estimates at the end of the project. Almost every one of these has an area where you can upload photos and documents, plans, contract documents, vehicles and equipment that gets pulled in from the equipment directory. Like a lot of these directories are kind of related to each other and are linked together, kind of like, you know, like go there, that will take you to I don't even know what I clicked on. I think it's the projects directory. This one was pretty intense too, some of the stuff in here. I don't really want too much time going through this and stuff, but yeah, there are estimates in there. Just all kinds of little things like, okay, like you can change the primary contacts just by doing that. And now that's a primary contact. Now that's a primary contact. And all this is done with Ajax PHP backend on this site. So I went from there to, well, I'm going to pull the mobile app too. If anybody's doing mobile development though, I highly recommend getting rid of Android Studio emulator. It's been such a nightmare for me, a horrible nightmare. So now I decided, well, let me try BlueStacks. It's more for gaming or whatever, but it's so ridiculously fast compared to Android Studio. Like, I mean, it's already open. I would still be going through the UI just to get to the place where I click to open Android emulator, and then I'd be sitting there waiting for like a minute or so for it to load. Or this is open instantly. And you open Expo Go on the AGS thing. So
I used to use this tool only to test my browsers, my websites for different solutions. Yeah.
This is Expo. So you just start Expo down here. It opens up this little control panel. Copy the URL, paste it into the emulator, basically a phone.
Wow. Yeah. Cool.
And it's loading on there. Usually loads really fast too. Going a little slow right now with everything running. Video, come on. might be the video and everything.
If we don't wait, there's no excitement about it. So,
Right. True.
yeah, I've been dealing with a client that doesn't want spinners in his website, but then the database is like 3,000 and something rows, and you can always just see that something is going on, but you don't see much on the screen. They say, I don't want spinners, so okay, just keep it blank.
Funny.
Don't let people know what you're doing.
Right?
Yeah.
So that's what I was telling you. Is the profile, and then all the labor reports that end up getting into the back end of the website app, all come from here. Job. Let's do that. Add the employees. You get the idea and go through and add each employee. Once you're done with that, you can take. I'll add one.
Hi, Timmy. This is Jose. I was late to the meeting. My question is, did you go to school to learn all this technologies?
No, not a day.
Not a day?
Not a day. I originally intended to, but it didn't work out so well. I didn't even start really. I was there for 2 weeks, and I didn't do anything actually for 10 years. I just had fun, and then 10 years later, I just started picking it back up. I just learned everything myself. And I was telling everyone earlier, I think it's, if you're thinking about whether to go to school or learn yourself, if you learn it yourself, then you're going to know how to keep learning. If you go to school, well, you got to make sure that you know how to keep learning still, because once school's over, you have to keep learning, or your code's going to be getting deprecated. You're not going to learn. You have to constantly learn basically for this career. I forgot what was that.
That's cool, man.
But yeah, there's that. I say, and there's like a schedule. I'm an administrator, so it's going to show me every schedule for everyone. If it was a regular employee, it would just show their schedule. There's the messages screen I was talking about. You can send pictures, take pictures, send pictures from your phone.
Your little Slack.
But yeah, that does a lot for a construction company.
Yeah.
What happened was they had a lot of contractors coming in and seeing them use the software, and they were going, "We need that. Where do we get it? Where do we get it?" So even though they already have a gigantic business already, my buddy that I work for there, like I've been friends with him for 30 years too. He's decided a couple of years ago, he's like, I just bought the domains and copyrights and everything. We're gonna start building this 50% partners. Oh, okay. He said he's got 5 clients just already sitting there waiting, having the money in hand. They're waiting to pay like $3,000 a year for it, and they haven't even. And he has people ready to start on sales for it as soon as it's finished too. So that one is AppleSoft, which I'll show you that too. Where's the? Let's just change this out. Wow, this computer gets so hot.
Are you on Windows?
I am. Like that's just the main one. The cool thing that I did on this lately is, oh, this is the one. That's the administrator. I don't know if I can show you, but if you register for an account and then like me or Gary or whatever approves the account, they pay for it and stuff, then when they come here and log in, it asks them what labor categories they want and what a few other questions about it, and then you hit create application, and it goes in and it creates a file system with like 20 some folders and index pages to where they can store all their documents for the different directories and stuff. Has a big SQL file that it runs and creates a database for them, creates all the tables, with the custom tables with the labor categories that they created and everything. So it uses one file system for the actual application, but each customer will have their file system, which will just hold their documents, their company-related documents, but they'll each have their own database. So I thought that was pretty cool. It actually has to do a bunch of things. It has to create permissions and stuff for the database user. It has to create the tables. There's like 5 different things that it has to do, but I thought that was pretty cool. But then once they create it, go here and log in, and then this account is basically the last part of the name of the database. So,
I think we have a question from Michelle. Michelle, you want to read it loud or you want me to read it for you? Michelle?
You can read it.
Yes, I just did. I read it. I want to know if you want to ask yourself that or you want me to ask for you.
Okay, I'm going to ask. Tim, do you think it's better to learn this in a practical way or in a theoretical way in order to get a knowledge you need for a language or a framework?
to learn it in, you're a little muffled there. I heard the first part.
Would you say practical way or a theoretical way? Which one do you think is best?
Maybe a combination. I mean, when I first start with something like, let's say I first start with React Native, I'll go to reactnative.org and just read the documentation. And then once I get through the basic documentation, I'll start, getting my hands dirty. And most of these newer languages, it depends on which, for example, if you want to go learn PHP, I wouldn't know where to go, or I imagine the documentation probably be all outdated and probably not great. But most of these newer languages, especially the JavaScript frameworks and stuff, they're going to have really good documentation.
That's totally true. Especially the one from Mozilla. Unbelievable.
And there's tutorials for everything. I have a love-hate relationship with them. Some of them are just terrible, and some of them are great. You almost have. I don't know how many times I've just stopped an hour into a tutorial. I'm like, this is just garbage, and went and found another one that was better. But yeah, there's terrible tutorials, but there's also some good tutorials.
That's true.
Yeah. So it's very similar, to the other one, but this is a standalone application that they're actually selling. But still, it's very similar. A lot of things are a lot nicer on this, especially the analytics. They need to get this on their site now. Oh, right, it's not working on this. I forgot. Is it that one? Yeah, that one's not working. The reports are working. Yeah, this on their website, they have to if you notice it never ever changes pages up there. It's everything loads dynamically, even the pages, the menu, everything. So the page, it always just sits there at app.appmosoft.com, no matter where you go. But yeah, you would have to go through all kinds of stuff to be able to edit the reports on their site and to get from one type to another. It's pretty ridiculous on theirs. And eventually, probably all this stuff will be on the site that's not a standalone application. Yeah, you probably have seen enough of this. It's probably getting boring.
No, but it's those look like very complete applications, and that's the beauty of a single page application, that you're staying on the same page and just routing through the components.
Right. Yeah.
It's a game changer.
Yeah. Each page has a. Oh, where is it? Let's bring it up on here. Each page has 3 files related to it. Yes. Where is it? That one. So, So there's actions, screens, and a JS file. So whenever you hit, like when you change pages on the menu, it might be company-directory, and then it will load company-directory.php for the page, which has pretty much nothing on it except for the filters at the top. And then all the JavaScript is company-directory.js. The actions, maybe company actions or something. But so the index page is the only one that loads.
In terms of abstraction, I would think it's some sort of an MVC, because actions, will actually be triggers, and some you have views as well.
Yeah. Pretty similar. Select screen. There we go. So when you select, you hit like a page icon on the menu or whatever for a different page, like it's just a select screen. Sometimes it's get section, but just a screen on most of those. And so then it just loads the PHP page, gets the JavaScript, and yeah, that's it. The PHP page will have a onload function that says get directory or something like that. It was really a pain doing that at first because, like, for example, I took all this from the website they've been working on for 6 years, and like on the company directory and the project directory, the same function will be get directory. But since the page never reloads, all those functions stay in the memory. So you go to the company directory and look at that, and then you go to the project directory, and it would load the company directory onto the project directory. So it was kind of so all the functions have to be named uniquely. Have to have this every time, like you have a dot on, like dot on load or on click or whatever. You have to put dot off before it, otherwise it'll start running like multiple times if you like load that page more than once. So there's a lot of little weird things like that, but
some sort of anonymous function to just avoid the repetition of it.
Yeah. I really didn't even need these JS files. I could have put every single function for the whole application in one file, but
so it has directives as well, Timmy.
Directives.
Yeah, directives are some sort of functions that you already have as a part of the language, that you can interact with, like such as for loops and stuff that you don't necessarily need to use the regular standard for, but you already put the v for example, like in Vue, or ng4 like in Angular, and you can reproduce or map any type of object elements in some sort of HTML or something. So that's pretty much a directive. It's just a shortcut to the standards that we already have in a language.
Yeah, I don't. Why wouldn't you just use it directly?
Usually, like for example, in Vue, I use it to populate list box or drop downs or even list. Or if you can just simply show a couple of records, you can use those directives. It really depends of the language. Angular and Vue are very directive-wise. They go that way. But in React, you don't have that. You instead use the regular JavaScript methods, such as map, filter, reducer, and stuff like that.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I would say you'll probably see more jQuery than you will than all the JavaScript on here. It's just so versatile and quick to write. Most of this stuff's going to be, this is all jQuery. I think it might even be add class, remove class. Tons of jQuery. It seems to work very fast.
Yeah, and it has been our companion for a lot of years. Even when they call it legacy, it's still present.
Yeah, I was actually going to say something earlier. Let's see. I was actually going to say something earlier about, I forget who said you're thinking about Flutter because of React being slower, but I was reading
Mm-hmm.
when the guy Wallace asked me about React from the store that I mentioned. I like got home and I'm like, oh, I'm gonna check this out, and I guess things are changing like rapidly. Like for example, was it Flutter with Ionic? I think he's using. I think that's what he's using. But anyway, it was saying that it's not a problem anymore, like because of some of the recent advancements and such. Like, there's not much difference in speed. I was reading.
Oh. Yeah, and it's so widely used that I don't think Facebook is gonna let React Native go away.
No. Yeah.
It's here to stay. That's for sure.
Yeah, it's used by like everything now lately. I see it everywhere. Netflix has been using it forever. Let's see, how do I get this back?
Guys, if you have any other question,
Well,
not to
I
keep
could
it.
ask one.
Mhm.
What do you like, or what do you enjoy doing the most? The front end portion of things, or the back end side, APIs, and so on?
Kind of equal there. I'm not crazy about design, but it's cool. I still do like to do it. Yeah, it's kind of equal there, to be honest.
That's a 50-50 there then.
Yeah, it's 50-50 for sure.
They asked you that because
I've been trying for 10 minutes to figure out how to get the screen share back off, and I cannot find, like, it's like that bar where I started it is just not there anymore.
It will be on the right side, I think, right at the right side of your screen, at the bottom, bottom right.
Nope, there's just one thing that has like the modes and close.
Instead of seeing the regular like upload icon, you will see a little box with an X or something there.
Well, I started in a browser, so maybe if I find the browser window.
Yeah.
No.
Anyway, guys, if you don't have questions, we have to respect the time, and I truly appreciate the time that Tim gave us today, and we'll try to keep the meeting short so that everybody enjoys it. So if you guys don't have any questions, any more questions, guys?
Anybody else?
Okay, go ahead.
Timmy, what platforms did you use to get your knowledge, or did you use mostly books?
No, online. I never had a book actually. I like the official documentation first of all, and then from there, of course, questions and stuff like the rest of the world. I use Stack Exchange. I'm just gonna go back to this. This is driving me absolutely nuts. If I go to here, sorry, I'm so like distracted by it not being able to see the interface that I'm using.
Yeah, don't worry.
Now I see myself.
Oh, okay. There you go.
There.
That was nice.
Went away.
Yeah, what the hell's the matter with this interface? I can't even close one. Am I still there?
Yeah, we can see it.
We can see one of them, yeah.
Okay.
Oh, well, guys, I guess it's the time to wrap up this meeting. I truly appreciate the time that you gave us today. It's really good to have your insight, and know.
Did I finish answering the last question? I guess so, kind of. I like the official documentation, but also just Google searching stuff. Mm-hmm. Basically, like I'll pick it apart. Which part do you want to do first? Do you want to It might be let's see. Let's say just fetching information from an API. So I'll go find information on the fetch method.
Usually, I go to the documentation. It's like the starting point for me because they work hard to put it together. So
right, and like I was telling you earlier, that can be sometimes frustrating. They changed the permissions package for React Native, and I'm like, okay, well, I need to go find out what they changed it to, and like how to use the new one. So I go to the official documentation, and it's like, it says, yeah, this is deprecated, do this now. And I go there, and all the code examples are class-based functions.
Class-based functions. The same in React. Is the same.
The only reason class-based functions still work is because Facebook has millions of them, and they can't replace them fast enough to get rid of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, we all go through the same process. We hate that part.
Oh, why would they write this new documentation with deprecated-looking pages?
Yeah. And then you have to deal.
I'm just guessing they have too much to do, that they haven't been able to complete the new documentation because it's frustrating. You go there and all the old school stuff is there.
Right. That's just Google search. That's probably the best advice I can give there.
Totally true.
Sometimes what is it? Starts with an M.
Stack Overflow?
No, it's more of an article type place.
Medium?
Medium, yeah. Sometimes you get some really good stuff from Medium as far as articles. Although the last time I went there, I got something saying that I've been there too much and I need to pay to continue using it. That made me mad.
Most of the articles are they are charging for their articles. Usually, I also write articles in Medium. And you have two ways of doing this. You do it for free, as I'm doing it, or you can do, content that they will pay you for. So you have the two options. So whoever is charging for their article, they want you to pay to read them. So that's the reason why. Yeah, I still believe in helping people without, the need of being charged. But everybody thinks the way they think. So that's my own way to think. Reason to that, we have this group as well to motivate guys to get involved with this, and you are bringing the time, to help us, and we appreciate it. So I hope this is not the last time that we see you.
Yeah,
we will help people next time as well.
I appreciate it as well, and I know where to go too if the next time I turn down work because I can't find anybody that could do it. I've actually turned down like a couple of different people, and they asked me like, "Do you know? I know you can't. You don't have time, but do you know anybody that can?" And I'm like, "I know a few people that do, whether they want to work or not." So I talked to a few people, and I'm too busy, so I'm turning them down.
Just remember that now you have us here. We have a good set of good talented individuals that can bring solutions to the table. So. Just make sure you remember those next time you find a solution like that.
Definitely will, and I appreciate the opportunity. Also, not a one-way street there.
Super awesome. So, best of everything for you guys, and for you guys at CCL. I will see you tomorrow.
Yeah.
Right.
Thank
you guys.
Good night.
Thank you, team.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you, team.
Bye.
Bye-bye.